All right, fact only.
Yes, sir.
New episode.
Yes, sir.
I'm talking about Ckay Love Nwantiti.
Yeah.
So who is Ckay?
Ckay's story has been interesting. We interviewed Ckay. You and I interviewed Ckay in 2019. Yeah. Came to Paul's and he told the story. Ckay is this boy that is a Kaduna boy. Grew up around music. His dad used to play a lot of music. His dad used to play a lot of classical music, so he had no choice but to fall in love with the idea of music. The interview is on Paul's if anybody wants to read it. So he had the passion for music, so he came to Lagos, like packed his bag and came to Lagos like almost every other person with a dream to join a record label like Chocolate City, right? But by the time he broke through into the Nigerian record label system, he was pigeonholed into the idea of a music producer. And he must have, because he's also an artist, he must have felt like that doesn't properly represent him.
Did he produce Container Online?
Ckay produced an entire range of records at the time. He even produced Otedola's Otedola with the money. Yeah,
he was one producer.
Wow, he was producing a ton of records at the time. Ckay, that's Ckay. He produced on Illegal Music 3. He produced, like, it was, a lot of people didn't exactly know who he is. They didn't exactly recognize who he was at the time. They only knew him as a producer. A lot of people didn't realize that he was an artist as well. So he was producing. Then he found faith within a record label. Someone special had faith that, okay, you are going to do this. But before then, he told me at the time that he went to an event and he met Audumekori. And Audumekori told him to come to Chocolate City, one thing led to another. He joined Chocolate City and everything. But then he released his first EP, had Container, which was some bubbling on that. He got some major wave, but it wasn't exact. Then he had Nkechi as well. But it felt like something was missing, like he was preparing for something, but it was being held back by the idea of commercialism. At the time, it wasn't clear. Now it's clear that his first 2 EPs were preparation for Boyfriend EP, right?
Yeah.
So you look at Ckay's the records like Nkechi, they were the way he was using his vocals, the way he was using his artistry, the way he looked, he felt like something was missing. But he kept going. And then the second EP came, which had Love Nwantiti, the original record. When that EP dropped, it felt like Ckay was starting to come into his own. The first single off that record was Way. That record sampled a Beethoven, I think it was a concerto or something. He put it on an Afropop record, right? Bang, 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 bang. It felt like this boy was finally getting into his own where he can take risks to do something he wanted to do. Then there was a record on that EP called Benny. Everybody thought that record was going to be the record. But here we are.
Yeah. So how did this record happen?
This record happened. Ckay told us at the time that he told us about the story. You can read it on Pulse. He told us the story about Love Nwantiti. He told us about Way. He told us about the record about the One Night Stand. There's a record about the One Night Stand on the second EP. That's Ckay the first. That's the name of the second EP. But the thing is, he told us that the last time he came to Paul's that there was a battle in-house for the record that was going to be the single. The label wanted a different record. Him and his team were fighting aggressively for Love Nwantiti. They were just pushing hard. They were pushing hard. But the label wasn't seeing the point. So it got to a point where the label had to see the point that, okay, just do what you gotta do. So Ckay found a way to put Joeboy and Kwame Eugene on it. Joeboy was popping. That was 2019. Joeboy was popping at the time. Kwame Eugene was winning awards in Ghana at the time. Put them on the record. Shot the video in Q1 2020. And the record went through the roof.
Wow. So how did the record blow up?
The way the record blew up, I remember in 2019, shout out to Ogagos. It must still be somewhere in our WhatsApp conversation. So Ogagos hit me up one day and says, the 2 best records on this EP are Ben and Love Nwantiti. He said, the best thing about Love Nwantiti is it sticks to your head. But a lot of people are not going to realize it because it doesn't exactly have a standout feature. That was what Ogagos said at the time. Shout out to Ogagos. But the good thing about that record is two things that happen on that record. Two things that make that record stand out. One, no, it's actually three things or four things actually. One, the beat itself is very melodious, mid-tempo beats. It's some sort of an R&B record. It's about love. Secondly, it featured Kwame Eugene and Joeboy on it. Coming off the back of incredible years in West Africa, they had an incredible 12-month run because before that record dropped, Joeboy appealed to a young female audience, a young female fan base. They might not have been able to recognize him at the time, but they knew his music and they were attracted significantly to his music, right? The same thing with Kwame Eugene. So the record appeals to a younger audience. So that's, again, when you get your features right, it's not about just featuring people. It's not about featuring them for their status. It's not just, it's also about featuring them for what they can bring. And what did those two guys bring to that record? Excellence. Joeboy and Kwame Eugene, amazing. You can see, we don't have to explain it to you. Number three.
The chants, bro. That chant.
I remember when AOT2 and I were having a conversation last year, and he emphasized that part, we agreed that part, it's a streaming era. Attention spans are getting shorter. They're getting more compact, getting more compressed. So if someone were to listen to your song onto the first verse or the first hook these days and it doesn't stand out, chances are that the person will go and never come back because other songs are competing for the person's attention. Every Friday, tons and tons and tons and tons of records drop across the world. Not just Nigeria alone, across the world. And people love music. So they need things that they can go back to. So a person like Ckay, and these days, records have, the way records, there's a formula to records. Shout out to AQ, we're having a conversation recently. Like, verse 1. If you are building a verse, right? You are getting a build up. Then the record has to have a zenith. Then it comes down. The engineering of the record has to be balanced. So that record suits the way a good streaming record is engineered. It goes up. It comes back down to the verses again. Like, you can't help it but be attracted to the record. That's number 3. Then number 4, the fact that the record blew at the right time. It was the start of lockdown. People were at home. A few Nigerian records were going. That was how Omale went through the roof as well. If you guys remember quite well. Like, Omale's You, it felt like You was going to be the record, then it turned out to be Bad Influence. And that record just went like that. So it was at that time. But Ckay's record at the time was traveling. We just didn't understand it. If you remember, after that record blew during the pandemic, there was Winnie Arlo that danced to it on her IG, right? Oh, Winnie Arlo danced to Love Nwantiti, blah, blah, blah. But we hadn't seen anything. That record, it took it from one point to another. We did a report on the top 10 Nigerian songs on TikTok, or maybe top 15 in 2020. Check the number of views and some other plays of Love Nwantiti. You will see the numbers. The numbers are crazy. Even last year, like Q3 last year, the numbers were crazy. So you have to understand that the rules of engagement have changed. So, and that was just the first one. So there was the 4 things that makes the record special, and then there was the idea of how it blew up on social media. But the sustainability is another thing entirely. Because what did Ckay do when the record blew up? Ckay did an entire EP of remixes, featured a bunch of people, Latin pop remix, this remix, that remix. At the time, it didn't seem like it was anything, but we'll get to that later.
So talking about the sustainability, he also blew up on TikTok and on Triller.
Yeah, it blew up on Triller as well. So
can we say it's because of how the features also influence younger female
Oh,
audience?
absolutely, it did. I think I spoke about it the other time. Like the guys that featured on the record, for example, it was at the time that nobody was blowing up as well.
Yeah.
Like, Joeboy is like on some Justin Bieber B2K type thing. Right? So his music is centered around the fact that the boy can craft hooks. The same thing with Kwame Eugene. If you listen to Kwame Eugene's album, There are records like Love Nwantiti across board where it says something, you remember. What you might not remember one thing that Kwame Eugene said on the album, but you will remember a flow scheme. You will remember something. That's what his music is based around. And the good thing about someone like Ckay is, like I was saying the other time, he was finding himself, he was tweaking things, he was working on things. And he found a way to use his voice. He found a way to appear, to look. Like all those things sort of agreed at the same time. And sometimes a lot of people are going to say, oh, we are talking about facts on this show. Yes, we are talking about facts. But let's also talk about the fact that when people work hard for a long time, things just sort of crack open for them. And that's what happened here.
So what did the record do for Ckay at the time?
The record changed a bunch of things for Ckay. It was the first record that made people, let's say, it was arguably his first genuine hit record. Container, yes, but nah, Container wasn't on the level. Love Nwantiti, even last year, was on some Pan-African appeal thing. Like, it was on, and it had started to gain this buzz, so to speak. After that record dropped, Ckay has not looked back. He has not looked back. Let's put it simply. Left Chocolate City, signed to Warner, South Africa. He's released Boyfriend EP, which is an incredible EP.
I love that EP, like,
bro.
Man,
that EP is incredible. Like, what were you going to say?
No, I wanted to say, like, also, talking about Ckay, how he grew from Love Nwantiti. He also did a madness on this record that I like on Davido, A Better Time.
La la la.
Bro, the way he was able to manipulate his vocals and everything, it was just amazing. It was so super.
And Ckay knows how to just, it will find the melody and stick there. Wow. Or if it's Adam as a boo.
Bro.
So he knows how to, he will find something and he will just use it like that. So it's what he's good at. So release Boyfriend EP was on the Davido record. That record has an entire story on its own. So like, it's been coming. It's been coming. A lot of people just didn't. But I wouldn't exactly say Love Nwantiti is the thing that led to all those things. I would say Ckay's work got him noticed. Love Nwantiti just made him put an identity to it.
Like a spotlight.
Exactly. He put a spotlight on him. So people, it's like a footballer that had been performing well. Everybody on his team, they know that this guy is a good player. But the day he scores a winning goal, everybody will realize who he is. So that's the type of thing that Love Nwantiti did for Ckay. It was like his winning goal in the Champions League quarterfinal. That was what that record was like. But then his work kept him going. That's why he can get Player of the Season in form of like a Billboard Hot 100 placement. The work got him to Davido. The fact that the boy records, he works, he just keeps working.
Did major label influence power the record?
It's a yes and a no thing. First things first, it's an amazing record that grew up a life of its own. But we also live in an era where, as much as a lot of things are now inorganic on TikTok, a lot of things genuinely start organically on TikTok. And a remix was all blue on TikTok. A remix of Love Nwantiti was all blue on TikTok. That went crazy. But let's not forget, the first remix, Ckay already released a box set of remixes to that record that gave it mileage, right? A set of remixes. Even Latin pop remix was on it, right? So all those things that happened. And then the record got the attention of TikTok. Now, there are two ways things happen on TikTok. Sometimes it starts organically. Someone dances to a record. Look at the glitch challenge. The glitch challenge, for example, a high school girl, I read the article on Insider, she had been doing it. But all of a sudden, the day she did, that was the day it blew up, right? Then it became a sensation. But sometimes, major labels do use that. I think you guys should listen to an episode of Popcast by John Caramonica that breaks it down. breaks it down, like the idea of how major labels use TikTok. But in this case, as much as the label might have amplified it, like as they should, as a label, they should amplify it. If someone is gaining buzz somewhere, you should amplify it, because it's going to lead back to your success, it's going to lead back to your artist. So it's a no-brainer for you. But the way this record blew up, the way this record rose itself, like now it's not even about the remix anymore. The remix that blew up on TikTok is fueling the original, topping Shazam charts, touching Billboard 200, Global 200. Like, it's the original that's blowing up. So if the label did amplify it, then it was simply the right decision. It was simply the right decision to make. That's it.
Okay. How much influence does language have on this record?
We're of the opinion that, for at least for a long time, we were of the opinion that a Nigerian record might not essentially, language might be a barrier for Nigerian records. And the thing is, a lot of people have been saying that, oh, how about Latin pop artists that have been blowing up stateside for a long time? Some people tell you, oh, how about Jamaican artists that have been blowing up stateside for a long time? Oh, how about, what is it called? How about Asian people that have had some attention in the US for a long time? But you have to understand something. The percentage of black people in America is under 50%. Spanish is spoken, like almost every Latino person, Latinx person speaks Spanish.
Spanish, yeah.
You understand what I mean? Like, they speak Spanish. That means there is a unifying language to Spanish. Every Jamaican person, a lot of people from the Caribbean can understand Patois in some way. They are like the Creole, they have similarities. They are not the same, but you can understand the gist of what they are saying. Now, in Africa, a lot of people are going to say we have Pidgin. Yeah, as much as that makes sense. But how many countries speak Pidgin and understand Pidgin in Africa? How many? Not a lot. That means we don't have a unifying language. So that means
language.
If there are 15% black, if there are under 15% black in America, what fraction can understand Pidgin? What fraction can understand Yoruba, Igbo, Yoruba, Twi, Zulu? What fraction understand those languages? Exactly. So the problem is not people. You can't drawing the comparison between Africa, Zulu or Pidgin or Yoruba with Spanish is you can't. It's false equivalence. But the thing that the success of Essence and Love Nwantiti have taught us is that sometimes the world is becoming a global village. Again, it's a streaming era where people don't even need to understand. Gangnam Style became a global sensation. We didn't understand the word that guy was saying.
Yeah.
I Like It by Cardi B was an entire sensation. We didn't understand the word that J Balvin and Bad Bunny were saying.
Yeah.
It's always been like that.
Even Jerusalem.
Bro, Jerusalem! Jerusalem.
Nobody. We even have to put our own lyrics so that we can chat.
Bro, look at the record that blew up here earlier.
Yaba Buluku. Okay, Yaba Buluku.
People turned it to Odogu You Bad.
Odogu You Bad. And I don't think that was what we were saying.
That was what Voleku Ivani. That was what they were saying.
Hey.
So people will find the moment people start creating their own word around the record of foreign language, impact is coming.
Yes.
So you won't be surprised if some people are saying whatever they want to say. Where I went to cut my hair yesterday, my barber, the guy that cuts my hair, he was listening to Get Witcher by Migos. I told you about Get Witcher yesterday. He was talking about Get Witcher by the Migos, right? He was listening to it. That guy couldn't understand what he was saying, but he was finding his word. He was finding his words, but guess what? He understood all the ad-libs. Wow. That's how records penetrate. So you can be sure that someone somewhere that doesn't understand a word that Ckay is saying sometimes on Love Nwantiti or where Wizkid was speaking Yoruba and SS, they are forming their own words to those records. So language might not be as much of a barrier as it is anymore in the global landscape.
So what makes Ckay special? Is it his looks, his vocal range, his brand, or his type of music?
First things first, the success of people like Ckay and Koire is going to build on the hard work, on the incredible hard work that the 2010 generation led by Wizkid that they have done. Like, those guys, I've said it several times on this show. Whiskey when he was speaking with, was it this day now or I can't remember, Independence Day last year, he had an interview where he was speaking and he said that me, David Burner, we are scratching the surface. The next generation will come and take it to another level. He didn't realize at the time that he was going to have a top 20 Billboard hit. But that's a conversation for another day. He understood that we are only scratching the surface. The next generation will blow everybody out of the water. People like Ckay and Afrobeats are coming out of the blocks now. Right? They're coming out of the blocks. Thames, bro. Thames.
From nowhere.
From like Thames, right? They're coming out of the blocks, all of these people. The thing that someone like Ckay has is that makes him an interesting study, and I think everybody should study Ckay from here on out, is that Ckay might pass for a trap artist. If you have not listened to anything he's saying, his hair is purple. He has earrings. He wears
beads.
He wears beads or pearls around his neck.
And I think something about his eyes.
He has something in his eyes. If you're not careful, you might pass for a trap artist. He's avant-garde. He has this avant-garde appearance. His voice, he knows how to manipulate his voice. He will be good for you, fantastic on hooks. He can produce.
And that personality also engages to like Gen Zs.
Bruh.
All over the world.
All over the world.
Not even America.
Avant-garde.
Yeah.
Because that's the era we are. It's postmodernism. People are free to experiment with whatever they want to do now. Like, it's not as much of a problem as it used to be if someone were to pin their hair and go to class in the university. I mean, in Nigeria, maybe. But in the old days, it might have been a problem, but not. It might have been a problem. But it's the leniency that they are going to enjoy now, they might not have enjoyed it 15 or 20 or 25, 20 years ago.
What about, it happened to this basketball and Rodman?
Dennis Rodman.
You know, it was like an outcast. Like,
bruh,
nobody wants to.
But this day, look at Russell Westbrook is wearing a skirt. Russell Westbrook wore a skirt some weeks ago. Did it cause an uproar as much as? No, because times have changed.
Yeah.
So people like Ckay, like the fact that he can produce, he can write, he knows how to create tunes, he knows how to create someone. They are going to count for him. So what this means in essence is that the work of the 2010 generation is going to be expanded significantly by the upcoming generation. People we are going to see a lot more successes because we have 2 Billboard hits right now, bro. 2 Billboard hits right now. It means that the eyes of the world is now in Africa. It's not just Afro pop that's going to blow anymore, bro. Amapiano is coming. Make no mistake.
Yeah.
Amapiano is coming.
Yeah, Babu.
Amapiano is coming.
Bruh. So what does this actually say for Grammy in the end? Talking about us having, Billboard hits, left, right, and center.
Honestly, I would say what I was saying. Amapiano is coming. Sukus is coming, right? It's just still a problem that a lot of foreign people think that the only thing that we do in Africa is Afrobeats. No, that's not the only thing we do. We have hip hop, we do trap, we do drill, and what we are going to see now is a lot of those kids that still are now going to have their gain. Like the next wave of successes from Africa will not be just Afro pop artists. They will not be making Afrobeats. A genre like Sukus, for example, it's blown up. He had a run in Europe in like the early 2000s. That was huge. Charting in France, Belgium, Sweden, wherever else, right? Netherlands. It's going to come back. Someone is going to think about it very soon. And a Sukus artist is going to blow stateside, right? So it's going to be a no-brainer for something like a Grammy category. Afrobeat is going to have a Grammy category within the next 2 years. Easy. Because there is an incredible... There's a wave of development going on in Africa right now. Internet penetration, younger generation, purchasing power is getting better. Like we've said it several times on this show, purchasing power is getting better, consumer behavior is getting better. It's still not at the best like it could be, but businesses are coming in, everybody's coming in, Twitter is coming in, major labels are coming in, everybody's coming in. So it means that there will be an exchange of commodities. There will be an exchange of commodities. It's just a thing of, is it going to favor us more? Is it going to favor them? Because the thing is, as much as it makes sense for us to do this, as much as it makes sense for us to benefit from this, we are going to benefit a lot from it. But how is it benefiting us in the long term? Because look at it this way, foreign genres have always passed in America, right? Foreign genres have passed in America. Nigeria is never going to be as much of a dark space, dark web or dark spot as it used to be for America. Like even if another genre becomes a new obsession over Afrobeats in the next 5 years, We are still going to be exporting artists to that side. But how do we make sure that here is sustainable for artists? Yes, look at it this way. Getting out there makes you way more money. Getting out there's more stability there, purchasing power is better, consumer behavior is better. Even streaming, you're earning way more money there. I was speaking with a distro boss someone, he's saying that if you get into the top 100 of US Apple Music, you're good. Bro, you're good. You're good. The kind of money you're going to make, because the tariff is different. All of these things are different. Like, so I don't blame people for trying to run over there, even for touring and some other things. But bro, the infrastructures that we need here, we can use this moment to build them. We can use this moment to build, to fix our laws. We can use this moment to build structures. We can use this moment to create a coalition of people. We can use this moment to create like pressure groups and lobbyists. You can use this moment to create like event centers. You can use this moment to pressure the governments to create a plan for the creative industry that KPMG has valued to be ridiculous. The numbers are going to be ridiculous by 2030. We can use this moment to create something on the home front that could actually stand true to us in the long term. That's going to benefit us. Like, look at how countries like Sweden have benefited from the way of America in their country. Like I was saying, not just artists are going to be, not just Afrobeat artists are going to be, producers. Someone like Tempo produced Love Nwantiti. Tempo, he came here some weeks ago. Yeah. Amazing guy. Tempo produced Love Nwantiti. The guy is going to benefit from, someone is going to want to work with him now. Yeah. Right? Songwriters are going to, Sweden, do you know how Sweden powered American pop in the 2000s? People people like Stargate are from Sweden. A lot of pop figures are from Sweden. Like they powered American pop. Africa is probably going to have something like that. People are going to benefit, but we need to make it benefit our own front, like it benefited Sweden. Build structures, solve problems. Some weeks ago, yeah. Amazing guy. Tempo produced Love Nwantiti. The guy is going to benefit from, someone is going to want to work with him now. Yeah. Right? Songwriters are going to, Sweden, do you know how Sweden powered American pop in the 2000s? People people like Stargate are from Sweden. A lot of pop figures are from Sweden. Like they powered American pop. Africa is probably going to have something like that. People are going to benefit, but we need to make it benefit our own front, like it benefited Sweden. Build structures, solve problems, and make sure that it benefits us long term. That's what we need to do.
So is a remix needed to push this record higher?
Man, yes, but if you were the label, you'd probably be thinking about another remix, because the record has had a bunch of remixes already. But maybe someone big stateside that'll be able to jump on it.
Like a white man.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a white man, but yeah, probably going to be a white man. It doesn't have to be a white man, probably going to be a white man. Because, bro, at the end of the day, you are fighting 60% of America, and the people that you need to appeal to for you to have the kind of success you want is white America, bro. So, but the good thing is that Ckay already looks like trap artists, and young white girls like trap artists. Yeah. So, you know, that's the good. Yes, it's probably going to get a remix. I would like to think that they would do a remix, but you might also not be surprised if the label decides to say, okay, look, let's save this collaboration for another record. Like, instead of doing a remix to Love Nwantiti that's like 2 years old already, yeah. Let's do a collaboration and put our weight behind it for another record. But the thing is, they might then be worried that, can we recreate this wave again? So I mean, that might make them create the record. It's a lot of decisions, but they're smart people, they'll make decisions. Yeah.
So what is the disadvantage of TikTok's influence on the global music industry?
I wouldn't exactly call it a disadvantage. I would say that it's making it formulaic. And there might be an excessive amount of major label reliability on TikTok to blow records. Don't get me wrong, TikTok is going to be integral to the music industry over the coming years.
I think it already is.
It already is, but I was reading an article on Ole Oberman, the head of music at TikTok, did an interview with Music Business World, I think, yesterday or 2 days ago, where he was talking about how, so TikTok recently reached 1 billion users. 1 billion users, yeah. he was talking about how TikTok is going to be way more integral to the music industry. Like last year on Bostimo, they were talking about how they were creating an A&R an A&R AI that will be able to screen records. Like A&R, a tool that will understand the formula of hits over the past 20 to 30 years and be able to screen what's going to be a hit and what's not going to be a hit. So it's able to decide what to push and what not to push. So then they're also going to, live streaming is going to go crazy. People are already teasing records on TikTok. Like Thriller is on Thriller as well. People are teasing records, like they will sample, oh, does this work, does this not work? They will do live. But the thing that I think TikTok is going to be really big on is live streaming. It's already huge on video, but would the generation that it appeals to have the attention span to be able to stay there for the long haul? Because these things, the videos are 30 seconds, 1 minute short. Would they be able to stay for 1 hour, 2 hours? Only time will tell, let's see. But the negative influences is going to make it way more formulaic, way too formulaic. Don't get me wrong, the music industry has always been formulaic. Oh, you release a record here, you sample it, maybe you play it in a club to see how people listen to it and enjoy it. Then, oh, if it works, let's push it to radio, let's see how it works. Oh, that's working on radio as well. Let's package it, give it to packaging companies, trucking companies, push it to retailers sell it to the people. Now, the only thing is, TikTok is now probably representing 3 points of that. Probably representing the club where you sampled the record. It's also probably representing the radio in a way, because people are going to enjoy the records on TikTok because someone else is doing something to it, right? And if not anything, TikTok is definitely replacing music channels on TV. Those channels, and MTV should be becoming TikTok right now, because people want to watch TikTok right now. Shout out to Dan Ronzi of Trapito. He did an article that TikTok is the new MTV, and they are. Make no mistake, because as MTV will show one video, TikTok will show you millions of videos on one song. Yeah. So who do you want to watch? Take your pick. It's just that TikTok should be wary that it doesn't become more of a content marketing platform than an entertainment platform, because it's like a media platform. If you grow up by doing fun content that people wanted to consume, and now all of a sudden you turn it into inorganic content, paid content, your readership is going to come down because people are not going to, the enjoyment is not going to be the same. But people are going to argue that, oh, TikTok we put it there, but the difference between us and the media platform is a lot of people are still creating content organically, even though someone else is pushing it behind. But the thing is, if you have way too much things that are just happening because of the result of capitalist push, it might reflect slightly badly on the platform. But that might not happen because some people are going to argue that Instagram is an incredible content marketing tool. Yeah. Time will tell.
And Facebook too.
And Facebook as well.
Because a lot of content on Facebook these days are just,
paid content.
Paid content.
Yeah, because Facebook's biggest problem right now is they have a lot of users, but they don't have the retention and stickiness. It's a problem. Yeah.
I don't know, maybe in other countries, but in Africa.
It's not a lie. Like the retention and stickiness is a problem. That's why they're trying to do some other things, put stories so that younger people, they want to appeal to a younger audience now.
Is it easier these days than in the 80s to chart? Like, is it easier?
That's a very good question. So a lot of people are going to be of the opinion that it's easier these days. Let's look at how records used to be released. So some people are going to say, oh, I was chatting with an older guy about 2 days ago, and he made some good points to me that, oh, in the 80s, maybe Wizkid and Ckay would not have been able to chat in the 80s and 90s, and maybe even the 2000s. And I sort of didn't agree with him. His point was that in the 80s, there was the disco, there was hip-hop coming up, there was R&B coming up, and there was rock and roll, the latter parts of the golden era of rock and roll. In the 90s, there was hip-hop and R&B. In the 2000s, there was pop, there was R&B, there was some parts of rock, there was dancehall, there was Latin pop popping up at the time. So, and then there used to be K-pop as well. I saw his point. But the point that he was really making was, then, the way music used to be released was someone would release a record, then you cut it on CDs as a single, you sell the single as a promotional way to market the album. They release music videos, put it on MTV, then you market the album, do interviews, some of these other things, and you release the record. But these days, it's streaming. Streaming accounted for about over 60% of the global revenues last year, right? So, the way people are, the printing of CDs have reduced. We did an episode some weeks ago where we're talking about people need to go back to releasing CDs because we're not America yet. But in the US, for example, people are selling out equivalent of 500,000. Pure sales is less than 200,000. So that means streaming accounts for a significant amount of that. So that's why a lot of people are going to tell you that. So, and that's why people release records these days. Drake, 9 records from his album made the top 10 of the Billboard Hot 100 in the first week of release or the first week of charting. So a lot of people are going to tell you that the mechanics for these days pushes you to be able to rise up the charting, but I wouldn't exactly say that. I would just say the realities are different. I would say the realities are different. I would say that it's still the same idea, but it's different medium to achieve the goals. So I wouldn't exactly say that.
There are tons of ways to achieve.
Exactly. The times have changed. And maybe more records are charting from one artist at the same time. But it doesn't mean that every artist still has a chance to chart. Because not all artists can sell the amount of streams for them to get to the level where they can make the top of the chart. It's still the biggest artists that are getting there. Now, the only difference is that America doesn't, aside from trap, maybe, and emo and variants of trap, America doesn't exactly have a dominant, and hip-hop doesn't exactly have a dominant genre anymore. So Afrobeats is having its moment, Latin pop is having a moment, hip-hop is having a moment. So they're having to rely on foreign genres. So it makes sense for us to be able to benefit off of that, especially when good records, and these boys are signed to foreign labels. So as much as foreign labels are influencing just foreign genres, they're also influencing Afrobeats, they're influencing K-pop, they're influencing Latin pop. All of these things are working. So I wouldn't exactly say, yeah, it's reflects badly.
All right, negative impact of this wave on our music.
And I discussed that the other time. We need to use this wave to fix our industry.
Yeah.
To fix touring, to fix performance, to fix royalties, to fix collecting bodies, to fix a lot of problems that we have. We can fix these problems in under 5 years with a clear roadmap to these things that we're doing. That's the only way we are going to benefit from this. I'm not just talking about Nigeria, I'm talking about African countries. Maybe in South Africa it's better because they have certifications, they have charting, they have all these things. You can use this medium to fix our industries, and I have faith that we're going to be able to do that.
So what does it mean for younger artists who have seen the likes of Thames, who have seen the likes of now Love Nwantiti and Ckay do it now? So what does it mean for them? Like,
the goals have changed, bro. Yeah. If the goal was to have a smash hit record in Nigeria now, the goal will now be everybody wants to go out there and make it. That's why it has positive and negative connotations. Shout out to Ckay and my guy. He tweeted something some weeks ago that some people, a lot of Nigerian artists are paying PR people from the UK to do PR, and those guys are scamming them. Like, those are the negative side. Yeah. Everybody wants to blow outside the country now because that's where the good money is. Yeah. It just goes to show that the goals are different now. Everybody wants to have an international moment. So nobody wants to really make a record for here anymore. It's a disadvantage in a way. It's not exactly an advantage because if people were making records, nothing has ever been organic. People have always done something with a goal in mind. But it's just a problem that there's going to be a dilution in the quality of the music so much because people are going to be having to make mechanical records. You want to appeal to TikTok, you want to do this, you want to do that. Again, it brings me back to the thing that I was saying the other time, if it was easy. Even in the old days, as much as there were platforms like media platforms, soft cell magazines, newspapers, none of them have the global firepower, global range of TikTok, right? So people are going to want to make records for TikTok. Like, the realities are different. It's a good thing. It's a symptom of the reality, the reality that we find ourselves, the simulation that we currently live in. It's a simulation, but it shouldn't also deter people from understanding that not everybody will blow in America. A lot of people will get their chance. A lot of people will get the opportunity to get there, but not everybody will sign to foreign record label. And it should be. I would hope that young artists, as a matter of fact, if your success is Nigeria alone, especially in an industry, in a better industry, then be satisfied with that. Don't be disappointed if you don't have that. Yes, it's going to be another advantage when you're judging greatness for people that have that would have the international run. But at the end of the day, everybody should know what they're looking for in the music. Yes, artists are narcissists, and they thrive on competition. But at the same time, they should understand that success is success, regardless of what it is. We are going to compare. Fans are going to compare. No problems. But success is still success. And that's facts.